Hi, nice to
Hi,
see you. Nice to
and
see
you.
you. I'm going to sort of do a little bit of an intro here, so for everybody that's watching, because this may be sort of like the first of the interviews that somebody's watched. We're doing a set of interviews with people from the LGBTQ plus community, asking them questions about their life and when they came out and all sorts of wonderful things. So everybody that's sort of like watching can come along at any time during the run up to Pride and watch one or more of the interviews. So today we have the lovely Mel Shere, and I'm going to hand you over to these lovely people. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Of course. I'm Mel Shere. We are nearly middle-aged lesbian couple, I suppose. We've been together for 15, 16 years nearly. And we have a very large family.
Yes.
Very large. We've got 4 children, one that we had together. She's 12. The eldest of all the children is 31 next week. And then we have a selection of grandkids. I think we've got 8 at the moment.
You think?
Well, step grandchildren come and go, you know. So
lost count.
I think we've got 8. Yeah, yes. I don't want to take them out, which is handy. But yeah. We live in Devon. I've lived here for 25 years. You've lived here
since I was 6.
Since you were 6. What does the math? There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you both live before? I know you've got an accent, Mel. So
I can. This accent.
You can't escape it, can you?
I've lived here longer than I lived there. I've got a proper Yorkshire accent. Hey, South Yorkshire accent from Sheffield.
Yeah.
And I was born in Essex.
And that accent only comes out when she's had a drink.
Yeah. Or when you're around other people that have got the same accent, does it come out stronger? Yeah. I was born in London but grew up in Cornwall. So my London accent comes out when I'm around London people, and my Cornish accent comes out when I'm around Cornish people. So yeah, lovely. Thank you for that. So I don't know if you can take it in turns, whoever wants to go first. When and how did you come out, if you did, because some people don't come out? And who was the first person you came out to? What was the sort of reaction that you got from them?
First person I came out to was my best friend. I was at school. We was in like the last year of school, so I would have been 15, 16, and very positive reaction. She already knew, and I had nothing but support. So very positive experience.
Brilliant, lovely. And what sort of
good for the 80s?
Can you think what sort of like you just said? I was just about to
The
ask
80s,
what sort of
80s.
Yeah, I was just about to ask the sort of year.
Late
so
80s.
Yeah.
Late 80s.
Early 90s for you, I think.
90s.
Early 90s. Very like 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to have been,
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Mel?
When did I come out to myself, or when did I finally come out?
Whichever, or both.
Well, I knew I was gay when I was about 11 actually. But then we had the good old, it was the early 80s, and then we had the good old AIDS epidemic come out, and in a city, and there was a horrendous amount of homophobia and any phobia, really, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I had a very close relationship with my grandparents, and they was very, early war babies and things like that. So I thought that they'd be very, I was fearful of rejection. So I decided that I was going to be straight. 2 husbands later, and what have you, 3 kids, and eventually. So I came out pretty much when I met you, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, in my early 30s, finally did it. And then the first people I told, apart from my best friends, obviously, who was really supportive, obviously, as friends do, was my children. And I had nothing but absolute support from them right from the start. So yeah, so they just said, if you're gay, you're gay, and that's it. And they've been very supportive, haven't they?
Massively.
Yeah,
they've been brilliant.
Lovely, fantastic. So what was life like for LGBTQ plus people when you were sort of growing up? You kind of touched on it a little bit there when you spoke about that now, and sort of like growing up in the 80s and that. You sort of you didn't feel sort of safe to come out.
Well, I knew quite a few gay people, or people that was openly out gay, and couples and things. But the stories. I mean, they was older than me, so they'd be like probably in their 60s now, and there were stories of them getting literally chased down the street and getting spat on and beaten up, and that wasn't just the men; it was the women as well, and anyone that was possibly transgender was just called, foul names in the street, and just it was just horrible. Well, anyone that wasn't white British really was targeted, and it was a very, very nasty time. For me as a kid looking at it, it just wasn't a good experience, and it wasn't a safe experience as well. And there was like underground clubs and everything in the cities and things where people went to, and it just wasn't it wasn't as safe as what I feel now. By a long shot. But for you, down here?
Well, I grew up in a house that was full of bigotry and racist. It was not a very nice experience. My parents owned a guest house, and we took in permanent lodgers, and which mainly involved having about 12 men in the house all year round, and it was fire upon fire. So a faggot.
It wasn't violent, but it was very verbally.
But a faggot was a faggot, and there was no
filters.
There was no room for anything. So it was mainly racism, but the second the AIDS epidemic hit, it was all about pillow biting. And
I don't think that advert helped. Can you remember the Tombstone advert?
I remember that
recently. I think I was about 10 when that first came out, and that had once that happened, it was then that it was a gay disease, and it was gay men doing it, and then everyone, it was almost like permission.
It was gay cancer, wasn't it? That's what it was labelled at to begin with, was gay cancer.
And then it was almost like permission for anyone that was, well, an arsehole really, to just go around and attack anyone for who they even suspected might be gay. Or it was horrible. I remember that vividly.
I remember that advert. It was it was a horrible advert, actually. It really was. And sort of like scary and just nasty, and and I believe
the point across.
It was John Hurt that did the voice on that. It was. Interesting. Okay, so next question. So obviously you were both in very, very different places at this time, sort of growing up. one in the city, one in the country. So it's quite nice to sort of see the differences. So this question, it'll be interesting to see the difference between the two. So were there any places that you could go where there were other LGBTQ plus people sort of hang out? Do you want to start, Cher?
No, I do want to start. Sorry. No, there wasn't anywhere that I went at all until I was about in my early 20s, and then there was a little club over in Torquay, and it was actually it was a house converted into a club.
It
was called the Double Two, I think, and that was my first gay nightclub that I went to, and it was an eye-opener. Purely because it was the first time I saw two men kissing. And it looked totally natural, but I couldn't take my eyes off them. It was like watching not a car crash, but it was such a weird experience where I couldn't take my eyes off them, and I thought it's beautiful.
But you'd not seen it before.
I'd never seen it before, and it was totally acceptable. And I thought I shouldn't be looking. Like the car crashing, I thought, why am I staring?
I get that. Yeah,
I shouldn't be staring, but I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him being able to do it in a comfy place without being attacked.
Really was,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, totally. And what about you, Mel? I mean,
no, I was straight. I wasn't having none of it.
So you were, okay, so
Yes, no, I was fully straight and going for the straight life.
Have you been back to Sheffield since you've come out, and sort of been to any clubs or anything?
No. No, I haven't. Boring, you see. No,
that's
I go back
fun.
and see family and then I leave. I do not like I don't like Sheffield. I'm not a big fan of Sheffield.
Right.
Well, I'm not a big fan of cities, so not cities up north. So no, I generally go see family and come straight back again.
Okay.
So no.
Okay, so if you sort of like knew that you were either different or you knew that you were gay when you were younger, what was it like at school, or sort of like a little bit later on once you'd left school, maybe at work or whatever? So school and work, what were those places like?
No, you may as well, because I was in the closet.
Yeah. School, I stayed in the closet. Went on to college, stayed in the closet, and then it wasn't until I met my first girlfriend and I was at work, and I was a bouncer at the time, and that's when I came out. And lucky enough, my manager became like my best friend, and he was gay, and I started like hanging out with me and become a very close friend. And that's when.
Yeah, so at school and stuff, can't help you, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't out at school either. I mean, I like I say, it wasn't even on my radar whatsoever, because it wasn't talked about. I mean, I don't know. Some people mention that they remember sort of like in the 80s and early 90s, sort of a conversation about sort of being LGBT plus, or and from the teachers, but it wasn't. It was kind of like an assembly thing, and it was almost like warning against that sort of
it was never mentioned
lifestyle. But I don't remember anything. Yeah,
there was nothing like that at my school. It wasn't even. No, even the sex education didn't discuss any. No. It was even marriage before babies. Our sex education was. There was no. So there was. No one ever spoke about it, and no, absolutely nothing.
No, I think we've all three of us have probably had that same sort of.
I just think it's the generation, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Was there anything sort of when you did come out that was particularly difficult, or that you found particularly difficult? Either of you?
I don't think there's anything that. Well, there's nothing that I found difficult. I think the only thing that we had difficulty with was when we had Taya together. We come across a few obstacles then.
Yeah.
Because as far as we know, we was the first openly gay couple to have a child together in Torbay that we know of. And we had issues with, like, I wasn't allowed to go and see Taya because it was fathers only visiting rights. And then my 15-year-old daughter wasn't allowed in because it was siblings only. And obviously I got in. And then there was other things like Girls Brigade. They didn't want to punish a child for the sins of the parents, was the reply I got from them. Wow. It's only 12. And then the school, when Taya went to school, was amazing, but even they had a meeting, didn't they, to just, to inform the other staff that Taya has 2 mums, so they thought they'd best call a meeting about that and things. But other than that, coming out, no, I mean, no, not one issue at all.
No.
But then I suppose, because, like, I'm very confident, you're fairly confident, aren't you, that,
Yep.
Yeah. No, we've had no
Yeah.
problems, to be fair.
It was interesting to hear about, sort of how things were with Taya, because that's, yeah.
It was quite, thankfully the midwife was brilliant, but some of the other places and things like when we had to take her to A&E and they asked who's got PR, who's the mum, that was a good one.
Who's the mum?
Yeah.
Who's the dad is the second one.
Yeah.
Was it an accident when she got pregnant? That's the funniest one.
Yeah.
Was it planned?
What's this got to do with you?
And then I think the worst question I ever got asked was I'd started a new job and the manager there said to me, "Oh, so how did it happen then? Did someone, have sex with your missus?"
Wow.
Oh, yeah, so if I was an infertile man, you would obviously turn around and say, "So have you just let someone else in?"
Oh my gosh.
I walked away. I thought I'm not even going to reply.
No, totally. I mean, crikey, it's none of his business at all. None of anybody's business.
No. So I mean, we're very open anyway. We're very open with Taya, and anyone asks, will gladly answer questions because if you ask, you want to know things you're learning.
Yeah.
Very open, and Taya's very open with it. But
people ask who the donor is.
Yeah, and things like that.
Tell us about her dad. She hasn't got one. It's no one's business.
But she's happy. But other than that, we've had absolutely no problems at all.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, to sort of talk to somebody going through it now and see the differences. See if there is, because I think there is probably still issues around sort of same-sex couples having children, and I know there's sort of like the feeling with the public is still problematic at times. But
we had that one. I threw a health visitor out my house because she told me it wasn't my baby, so how could I comment? Wow. So I escorted her out. She wasn't warned about our situation as well, was she?
Yes, she informed us. She wasn't warned about.
She wasn't pre-warned about our situation. So I escorted her out the property pretty damn quickly. I'd had no sleep as well. She was lucky. And then there was that thing of when Taya got the wedding invite on Christmas Eve, and she did her thing, and she was so excited, and that went viral. That video. We got some very nasty comments from America.
Really?
There was vile, but thankfully, Taya read them all. She's well above that. She's a very well-adjusted, well-educated young lady. So, yeah. Didn't phase us at all. But
tell us that little story, of what happened. Because I don't know. Yeah, go on.
Right, well, Taya has been nagging us for years to get married, and well, we never really.
It's a piece of paper.
Yeah, exactly. But then, so she nagged and nagged and nagged, and then thankfully, before lockdown, we decided that we would get married, and we gave a wedding invitation in a Christmas Eve box.
Yeah.
And we filmed it, and she absolutely broke down and went into tears and what have you. So yes, the video went viral.
Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah, I've seen the video, and it's I mean, I cried along with her. She was so emotional, wasn't she? It was lovely, really, fantastic. Okay, so next question. This is the big one. You as a couple, when did you meet? How did you meet? Tell us all about it.
I suppose I best.
Yeah, you go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was married to my second husband, and he's a lovely, lovely man, a really, really nice man. But I had this friend, and we kept going out on nights out and things, like groups of us, and Cher was friends with this friend, and every time we went anywhere and all these parties, we always ended up being drawn together as like in company every single time, wasn't it? For a year. So I used to leave early because I was starting to develop feelings. I knew it was wrong because I was married. And so after a year, then just couldn't be. And I just felt wrong, obviously. So I was cheating. So I told my ex-husband, and he was very supportive, actually. Once he got over the shot, he was very, very supportive. And so then in the end, we ended up, many years down the line later. So it was just, it's going to be. So my only regret is that I was actually married to a really nice fella at the time. But he's very happily married now and has been for many years as well. So it's all worked out well in the end.
Good, lovely. Great. Okay, so next question. Pride events. You may have been to some, you may not have, or so it could be Pride events or any LGBTQ event. Can you remember your first, and tell us also your happiest moment from one of these events?
I've been to 2 prides in London. First one I thought was absolutely out of this world. Did the march and everything else. I thought it was like the greatest. I can't remember dates though. I can't remember when it was.
Well, it'd be about 20 years ago.
Yeah, easy.
Sorry. We've got 3 little dogs as well.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole atmosphere. So we ended up in Hyde Park. It was such a spectacular day, and I couldn't believe the community spirit, and everything was there. The families were there, and I just couldn't believe the whole spectacular of the day. It was unbelievable. I went to a second one. Again, I think that ended up in Hyde Park. That was extremely good. That was with a different partner. Extremely good experience again. And the best experience I had, I went to a Stonewall concert at the Royal Albert Hall, and that was the most wonderful thing. It was a variety show, and everyone was there. Leslie Garrett, Peter Kay, and it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Honestly, I laughed, I cried at everything. It was phenomenal.
Brilliant. Lovely. Well,
Me? Sorry, my dog's doing something very rude to my pet rabbit. Rita! Behave! That's embarrassing. You have to stop him. The rabbit's twice the size of the dog. I think he'd cause her injury if he doesn't. No means no.
so
Me, right, so Pride. I've never actually intentionally gone to Pride. I've been trying to go to Totnes Pride for the past couple of years. But last one got cancelled. The one before that, I was actually away. But then I did about 4 years, 3-4 years ago, come across Southampton Pride actually by accident. And I was on a camping holiday with my daughter and her 3 children. And her eldest child, it turns out is now, as we know, is transgender and openly transgender. At the time she wasn't, and she was just we always described her as very flamboyant, she used to be. And I remember we just come across it by accident, and she was sat on my shoulders eating an ice cream. And then this gorgeous specimen of a human being walked by with glitter all over their body and wings on, and I remember little Pink jumping up and down on my shoulders, so excited because she'd seen someone that dressed just how she wanted to dress apparently, and she chucked ice cream all over me. And but I remember the atmosphere was just so, it's almost like liberating. It was so fun, so light, so you felt like you actually belonged somewhere, and you wasn't the person that people was going to point at saying, oh, that's lesbian. That, you know, it was just, everyone was just like part of you really, and that felt really good. And then my only other real positive experience I've had from anything that's similar to that, it's not Pride, it is actually Proud2Be. And it is when the first time I walked in with my 2 daughters and my daughter's 3 younger children, and we knew that Pink was going through some issues, and it was the first time, not just for me but for her as well, to walk in. And when she come out there, she was practically crying, saying that there's people like there that was just like her, that was born with the wrong bodies. And I think at the time she was only 4 or 5, and even then, you know, she knew. And so it was just nice to have that, to walk in and just to see other people and their physical gender that they've been, or who they are, is nothing. You just get to know people as people, regardless of any sexual identity or gender identity, just them as their people. And I think that is, that's one thing that I absolutely love doing.
That was the Saturday socials, wasn't it?
Was.
Yeah, I remember that.
I did.
Yeah. It was lovely. Yeah. It'd be nice to get back to those again properly.
Absolutely.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, I used to enjoy those. Okay. So going back again in time to your younger self. This is always an interesting question. What would you tell your younger self if you could go back and say something?
Personally, don't worry. Pick your battles. Just don't worry. I think, as a younger person, I used to, and I see a lot, you worry about things, you analyze things, and it's just not necessary sometimes. I think the best thing about being old is you really couldn't give a fiddlers. Really, honestly, genuinely couldn't. And I think it's nice to have got to that age, but it would have been nice to have been younger and had that same experience. So yeah, and pick your battles. Definitely pick your battles, because some battles you waste way too much energy thinking about it, and you can make yourself ill, and your mental health can deteriorate because you're stressing, and and then before you know it, round the corner there's an even bigger battle that really you shouldn't have been battling that little battle. So yeah, just chill and enjoy life and be who you want to be. It really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, because anyone's opinion that does matter is people that are close to you, and they will fully support you, or should fully support you. That's what I'd say. What would you say?
Yeah, what would you say, Cher, to your younger self?
I would have found you and listened to you.
I thought you was going to say I would have found an opener and avoided them at all costs.
Probably believe more in myself than I did, and don't get so head up about what other people think of you, and stress about everything. Have more self-faith than I did in myself. Don't worry about what other people are thinking, because most of the time they don't really give a monkeys about you. It's you think.
I mean, as long as you know that you're a good person.
Exactly. Which, looking back, I was.
What do you mean was? I am and still was and still am.
Oh, no, I mean, to my younger self, I was.
Yeah, lovely. And kind of similar, but you might want to say something a bit different. Thinking about young LGBTQ plus people now, what advice would you give them?
One, definitely believe in yourself. Always believe in yourself. If you know in your heart that you're a good person, anyone else that doesn't, it doesn't matter who they are, even if they're family, if they are so negative, always just follow your heart and listen to the people that do support you, and reach out to people as well. If you are struggling, there are places, and even if you just want to make new friends that just accept you for you, just reach out to places. Proud2Be is a great place to start as well, isn't it? Even if you don't think that you fit in anywhere, even if you're not sure, even if you're not sure on who you are or any identity you are, it doesn't matter. You're still you, you're still a person, and just reach out to people. Absolutely. And have faith in yourself and love yourself if you can. I think that is the biggest thing, is to love yourself. Not too much, because you get like me and a bit cocky.
Do you want to leave something for me?
No.
Thank you for that lovely advice, Mel. We got anything else to add to that, Cher?
Don't get hung up on labels. Don't have to pigeonhole yourself.
A lot of people like labels, though. They find them security.
I can understand what you're saying, though. Yeah,
you don't have to pigeonhole
you
yourself.
don't have to. No.
So things can change, and that's fine.
The world likes putting you in the box. You ain't got to put yourself in one.
Totally. Get that. I think some people can think sometimes, I've come out as a lesbian, I can't change that now, that's it, done, what can I do? And it becomes a big thing that you can't sort of, well, actually I've changed my mind, I'm
It's also sometimes it's not necessarily about changing mind, it's about learning other things as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
As the journey goes on, you learn. I mean, I'm still learning an awful lot of these, the different flags and identities and what have you, so It's all about, it's a learning curve, and life is a learning curve.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely. Thank you so much, you two. It's been really, really nice talking to you. It's been
You're very
lovely.
welcome.
And I'm sure, you know, people watching will love, you know, especially your animals.
I'm
No,
not so
thank
sure the
you.
rabbit's keen.
It's really good. And you know, I'm sure, you know, people are going to enjoy watching you. So thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Bye.